There's no hill we can't climb. There's no mountain too high for us now. There's no reason to hide.
Hi guys, welcome to Abuse Recovery Success. Today is your episode. We're going to be answering some questions straight from our listeners. We've heard from you on social media, through our website portal, and we really can't wait to give you the answers that you're looking for and maybe a little more insight into myself as well as Abuse Recovery Success as a podcast.
How did you go from turning the business around to then being a business owner during a pandemic?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, so it felt like at first when the pandemic came, like at the end of the day, you just keep getting pummeled. Just when you think you figured things out and you started to improve, kind of get the ship upright, there's a new holes popping up. But the pandemic, while it's been such a really heavy experience for so many of us, and so many people have lost loved ones and lost their jobs and had really bad outcomes, the pandemic for my business was something that I used to kind of regroup, recenter, and then again, pivot. I talk about pivoting a lot because pivoting is the only way to stay successful, is to take a problem or a current situation and figure out how you can kind of re-steer, re-navigate. So for my business, one thing that really helped us is that we are also a medical spa. And during the pandemic, even though we were shut down for a couple months, when we reopened, a lot of consumers that were comfortable coming out while we took very excessive precautions and made it a safe place, what we really did is find new ways to gather business. And that was because people wanted to improve their self-care. They wanted to take care of themselves after going through a pandemic. The gyms were closed, the body sculpting arena was good, and we made sure we were in front of that on the marketing end. In addition to that, we spent a lot of time behind the scenes recruiting, marketing, and getting the business situated to pivot well.
One of our viewers said, during the pandemic, I relapsed. Was it harder for you to stay sober during the pandemic?
No, it was not. And I know that's different for everyone. I was a drinker all the time. Like I drank at home, I drank out, but I was a really big going out person. Like, a lot of people, I have on this podcast or I've met through the rooms of AA and just in recovery in general, they will really drink at home and isolate. And it's not that I didn't, because I drank all the time. I definitely drank at home. But that wasn't my favorite place to drink. My favorite place to drink was out in social environments. And that was to my detriment because Lord knows I embarrassed myself a ton out in front of people. But in the pandemic, I was so concerned with the business and then concerned with my children and they're not being in school and trying to keep up with that what did happen to me, and I kind of talk about this a lot, is I resorted to more food. I definitely was, again, just kind of pigging out at home with my kids, but I wasn't really drawn to drinking during the pandemic. I know a lot of people were, and I feel like there were also a lot of people that maybe hadn't exhibited that much drinking issues, problems, dependency, that found themselves drinking a lot more than they ever had before. So I think, just the pandemic affected everyone differently. And my heart goes out to those of you that, did have a relapse during that time.
What do you do when you feel the urge to drink?
Oh, what do I do when I feel the urge to drink? I just walk through it and talk to myself through it. It happens a lot less, luckily, for me now. We call it drink time. Drink time doesn't come for me that often. But when it does, I just talk myself through it. It's almost like I'm above the situation. Like, my Jiminy Cricket is talking to me and we're talking about the fact that I have a drinking craving, that I'm thinking about it. And it's almost like, it's really hard to put my finger on it, but it's almost like I'm removed from it. Like, oh, what would that be like? I could do that right now. Sometimes when I'm in a different part of town, I'll just think I could go drink somewhere around here and no one would know. And they would just think I was a normal person and I just have a drink. But then I just walk through what that process would be. And it's just so far from what I want right now. I would say to those of you that are listening that aren't in that position right now, first thing you should do is call a sponsor, go to a meeting, pick up a meeting online. Now they have all the Zoom meetings online. Listen to a podcast, call a friend in recovery, go do something that you like doing, because you can work out of that craving if you just keep going.
One of the listeners wants to know more about Sierra Tucson, which you have talked about in a podcast episode before. Can you tell us a little more about that, and would you recommend it to others?
It's a really odd thing, but at the end of the day, like you said, Sierra Tucson, and I got a smile on my face because this is going to sound crazy, but I had my kids really young. I started my first baby at 19. I didn't go to college with everyone else. I didn't really have that experience. I started working a lot, right up until my water broke. I didn't have that experience of kind of going away. And for me, the first time I really got to like be away from my children as a grown-up was at Sierra Tucson. And it was painful because I missed them so much, but there was such a camaraderie there. And I can't say enough good things about Sierra Tucson. I had an amazing therapist, just an amazing stay. The therapy helped so much, all of the activities. It was so life-changing. And even though I did 37 days at Sierra Tucson and I came out and I was sober for 6 months and then I relapsed, I still know for a fact that experience and stay has so much to do with my sobriety today. So, when I got sober again, I didn't go to a rehab facility this last time. And I still pulled from all that I learned there. So for me, Sierra Tucson brings back fond memories, good friendships that I built there, and just a lot of healing and growing.
How do you explain alcohol addiction to someone who has never experienced it firsthand or with a loved one?
It's really hard to explain. What I would say is you have no idea. That's the main sentence I would say to them is, it's really hard. I've heard people say, like, why don't you just stop? Why don't you just drink less? There's almost people that, they create a bad stigma. They look down upon people with addiction issues or fighting alcoholism. And, I would just say, until you've walked a mile in someone else's shoes, don't judge them. This is a disease. This is not something anyone grows up and wants to be suffering from or battling. There is much scientific proof that this is something that can run genetically and that certain people are predisposed to this. And anyone who is experiencing addiction or fighting addiction deserves the benefit of the doubt and the ability to get well. So I would just say that while it's something that you don't understand, empathy is required.
How do you tell people that you don't drink?
I like to scream it from the rooftops, but no, I'm always telling everyone I'm sober, and sometimes it makes people feel uncomfortable. But I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I go to a restaurant and people are trying to shove drinks down my throat, and it's not their fault. Again, it's probably someone who doesn't know or understand. And quite frankly, restaurateurs and people in that service industry, they make a lot of money off of alcohol sales. So when you sit down to eat or drink, they say, okay, well, they want to offer you a drink over and over again. So I just don't even like to deal with that. So in that perfect setting, like for instance, we were on vacation and we went to one of the nicer restaurants at the hotel and the guy is trying to go over it all. And I said, actually, I'm sober and I would love to know about your virgin drinks, any mocktails, fun things you have. And then he explained them to us, and my sons ordered two, and I ordered a virgin margarita up in a martini glass, and it was just fun. So I've told somebody at Chili's recently, the woman's trying to tell me all the margarita deals. I said, no, I'm sober and I would like a Dr. Pepper. And then later, midway, she said, I just want to tell you, like, you're so strong and that's amazing, blah, blah, blah. A lot when I first got sober out of Sierra Tucson, I didn't want to tell everyone. I wasn't very vocal about it. I just kind of kept it under the radar. And guess who relapsed? Me. And now I just tell everyone so that I never have to have a chance or an opportunity to slip up. Everyone knows in my life, from the waiter at the restaurant, I don't just like go to a meeting and tell someone, by the way, guys, I'm sober. That's not how it happens. But in a setting where it makes sense, I don't just say like Dr. Pepper. And then they say, oh, come on, have a drink. We're all having fun. Oh, no, I'm okay. Oh, I have work tomorrow or something like that. I'm not going to say that. I say, actually, no, I'm sober. So I'm going to enjoy my soda water. You guys have fun, whatever it might be. But owning my truth is important for me.
All right, April. And the last question that we have today, one of our viewers wants to know if you could give one piece of advice on how to push through adversity, what would it be?
Push through adversity. I would say never ever give up. That even when things seem their absolute worst, they will get better. Even when it seems like everything is falling down around you, even when it seems like everything is off, like maybe you're just not okay in your head, maybe it's all too much, it won't last forever. And not to sound coy, this too shall pass. There is no one that understands that more than me. And I think we don't talk about mental health enough. And I've had moments where I've questioned everything about myself. Am I okay? Am I crazy? Am I a good person? Can I handle any of this? All the self-defecating thoughts and things that we think and talk about with ourselves. I just know that through all my bad days, I've had moments where I wanted to give up, where I didn't think I could go on. For those of you I've attempted suicide before in my addiction, and I'm living here and living proof that things do get better. And that doesn't mean that I don't have rough days, that I don't question the choices and things that I'm doing and making. And I have to push through, because then those joyous moments come. And life is hard. Life is difficult. Life isn't easy, and that's okay, because going through the valleys allows us to enjoy the peaks, and to go through adversity makes us stronger and refines us. We talk all the time about pressure. It's funny, I was explaining on vacation oysters and how they make a pearl to my 8-year-old. And at the end of the day, an oyster gets a little bit of sand trapped inside of it. And then from there, because of that harsh pain and irritation that oyster feels, it develops a pearl. And from that is a beautiful jewel. The same can be said for diamonds. We go through things to make us stronger so that we can shine bright and shine that light with others.
Well, thank you, April, for answering questions from the viewers. I know that we would love to do this again.
Thank you. I love my listeners, and hearing from you guys and being able to share with you more intimate details, more tips and tools for enduring, thriving, and success is what I want to do. Thank you guys for joining this episode of Abuse Recovery Success. I'd love for you to check us out on YouTube. You can find me at April Hill. Our website is newly updated. I'm so excited to share with all the new things on the website. So even if you've been to our website before, go back. We've got new great video content, all kinds of information. And my partnership with Child Crisis of Arizona is so important. Giving back is so important. We'll have a portal there. So if you choose to donate and support such an amazing cause, you'll find it there. Also find us on TikTok, Instagram under April_the Hills. Thanks guys. Have a wonderful day.